episode 74. As you know, every week we do discuss different topics every Thursday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 7:30 p.m. Central, and 5:30 p.m. Pacific Time, West Coast. Want to welcome everyone for episode 74. Hope everyone's having a great and blessed day, great and blessed week at that. Hope you're hanging in there. No matter what you got going on, keep pushing, keep going. That's what I say all the time. It's something that we have to hear. It's something that we have to tell ourselves, especially around these interesting and tough times. For those who are having the tough time, and you just never know what season you'll be in. So you always have to prepare yourself mentally, emotionally. In a few minutes for everyone to connect. Want to go ahead and welcome everyone to episode 74 with myself and Pastor Carlos, which we'll have him connected in just a few. There he goes. What's going on, big bro?
What's going on, little bro? What's going on?
All right, man. All right. How you feeling?
Feeling good, little bro. What about you?
Good, man. You know, hanging in.
That's all we can do.
Yes, sir.
AirPods sound good on your end, bro.
Perfect. Yeah, I just realized, you know what it is, that when I'm connected, as soon as I connect, AirPods disconnect for some reason, and I would have to get out, connect them again, and get back in. But I'm
Gotcha.
glad that's not the issue this time around. Thanks, man. Thank you.
Let's go.
Yeah, we are on episode 74, big bro. Episode 74.
About to hit that summertime.
Yeah, that's it.
We're getting close.
Getting close to many things.
For real.
Yeah. All right, just giving it a few minutes. And we're good on Facebook. Want to welcome everyone on Facebook as well. YouTube, thank you for joining us on a weekly basis. For those who are new, welcome. We discuss new topics on a weekly basis. We've discussed so much. We've had testimonies in the past. We've had a lot going on this platform. It's been major. The feedback that we've been receiving as well, it's been major. You know, super grateful for it all. Super grateful for all the hardship, for the obstacles. Super grateful for the testimonies, for the experiences. Super grateful for everything that we've been overcoming, everything we've been coming across, because without these obstacles or experiences, we would have nothing to discuss, right? We wouldn't have anything leading us to these topics, to these discussions every Thursday, right? Basically,
Nice.
whatever we got going on, we go ahead and turn that into the opportunity to be able to speak on it, to be able to help the next person, because maybe something I'm going through this week, maybe something that various people are going through this week who end up connecting on the live with us. And, you know, we've been able to go through it, to feel, to go through all the emotions during that tough time or during that hardship, to be able to help the next person heal. It's like, how are we able to help you if we haven't gone through it, if we haven't experienced it, right? That doesn't mean that we're not able to help, but I mean, if we're in the field, if we've been there, then we would know exactly how you feel this moment. We would be able to put ourselves in your shoes to help you get out of it, to help you get through it mentally and emotionally, right? Because it's mentally and emotionally draining whenever you go through tough times, right? And imagine talking to someone who has no idea what you're going through or what you're feeling. It's like, how are they even able to help? You know deep down that not everyone in your contact list is capable or even able to help you in most of your hardship, in most of those obstacles that you're experiencing. Really, I mean, I've had that where I've gone through moments, tough times, and I had a whole bunch of people in my contact list, right? Still do, whole bunch of friends, but 90% of them were really only good to be like, hey, what's up? What we got going on this weekend, right? You don't have if you don't have the right people, you have to reevaluate your circle. That's what I've always said from the beginning, from when we started this platform. Not saying that those people are bad. I'm not labeling them as bad. No, It's just that not everyone um, belongs in every conversation. Not everyone deserves to know um, your whole life, right? Not everyone deserves full access of your life. Um, and you'll learn that along the way. You know, you must be asking yourself, how would I know this? Or, you know, you'll know whenever you find yourself in a tough situation and who's the one texting you or calling you to check up on you. That's one of the that's one of the major ways that you'll know is who really knows you to the point where they'll call you or text you to tell you, hey, listen, I know you're going through it because you know something seems off. Um, I haven't really seen you step out, or I haven't received a phone call. You know, usually I receive 3 or 4 phone calls from you, and I haven't received any. Like, hey, what's up? All good? If you don't have people checking up on you, um, you know that means that clearly tells you, that gives you the answer. Not everyone is really there for you. And again, they're not bad people. It's just that they are not the ones assigned to whatever struggle you're going through.
Correct. Yep.
Right? That's really that. Is you know, don't start cutting people off left and right. Just know how to set limits, pretty much. And then you know, of course, life, the process, the journey is going to tell you what to do with those people. Right? Okay, I can keep this person around, or I have to be careful what I speak to about this person. Um, you know, just limit yourself. Limit yourself. There's a lot of people out here who will listen to your struggle, and they're going to be happy for you, happy for the fact that you're struggling. They're going to be happy that you're going through it. One less person that they have to compete against. Because a lot of people out here are looking at you like competition, believe it or not. You shouldn't be looking at nothing or no one as competition, right? Which is the reason why most of the times we've failed in our past, right? Because we were doing things for the wrong reasons. Um, and you know, if you're willing to admit to that, not that you have to like raise your hand or put it out there, but really listen to what I'm trying to say, because it's a lot of things that can lead us into a dark place, into these dark seasons where we experience so many dark thoughts and dark experiences, and you know, all we see is failure more than success. Everything that we choose or any decision that we make seems to fail, but sometimes is where our mental state is, where we are emotionally. We're not focusing on what we have to focus on to get us to where we want to be, right? Because we're so concerned or worried about other things. Be very careful with who you keep around. Be very careful with who you have, um, you know, certain conversations with. If you're going to someone, make sure that they have exactly what you need, the words, the experience. Um, you know, make sure that these aren't the people that have hurt you in the past, right? The people who have betrayed you in the past. Just make sure that you are very careful with the decisions that you make moving forward, because really, when you're in a tough situation, it's very easy to make a situation worse, right? That can happen multiple ways. You know, that can happen multiple ways. You can make a decision to try and disconnect from all these problems that you're having by, you know, I need, maybe I need to step out more often. No, maybe you need to stay in and reshift your mind, you know, your focus. Um, really think about who you've kept around, who you've spoken to. Really think about what you've been doing, what are the decisions that you've made, and what have been the results of those decisions that you've made. Just basically reevaluating your whole life. Sometimes you need to stay in and reevaluate everything 360, just in general. And you have to take the time to do so, because sometimes we think a distraction is what's going to get us out of these problems, out of these seasons, and it's really not. A distraction is exactly what it means. A distraction. It's going to delay your healing. It's going to delay your blessing. Um, and you know, most of us, I'm sure we have a lot going on. We have families that we have a lot of responsibilities. Obviously, you know, we have rent to pay, bills, just in general, just responsibilities. You know what that is. You have a child, children who are counting on you, And no matter what you decide to do, it's like you're getting hit left and right. You're getting hit left and right. And it's very easy to give up. It's very easy to give up. And I'm one to that I can actually put that testimony out. You know, I've already put it out a number of times. It's very easy to give up. I've given up in the past to the point where I've been like disabled mentally and emotionally, right? Which has led me to bad decisions, right? And then, of course, when you take that path, you know, it may not seem wrong at the moment, the things that you decide to do, the things that you're doing, all to cope with what you're feeling. That's where we have to be very, very careful, right? You may decide to drink, you may decide to use substances, you may decide to connect with people. It might be the wrong people. You may decide to do the wrong things just to fulfill something temporarily, right? That can actually be long-term damage. That can cause long-term damage. Something that may feel good right now in this moment may be very painful in the long run. And you know, we have to be very careful with that. Sometimes there's problems that does lead us to temptations. Is really that simple, you know. It's very, very easy. It's very easy, and the hard part is to stay focused, to stay aligned with your purpose, to stay aligned with the reason why you do what you do today, to stay aligned with where God has gotten you up until this point today, right? You have a lot of people out there probably going through divorce right now. You have a lot of people going out there going through issues with their workplace. You know, they're losing their jobs. You know, you're getting hit in your pockets right now. You're getting hit mentally. You're getting hit emotionally. Very easy to get disabled. It's very easy to choose to not get out of bed, to disconnect from everyone and not talk to anyone because of what you're going through, what you're feeling. It's very easy to do that, you know. And lately, we've seen what's been happening post-pandemic, right? Everything was sweet during the pandemic for those who were out there receiving these checks and they thought everything was sweet. Unemployment was 1,000 a week for those who were claiming these checks. You know, they thought it was sweet. All distractions, all distractions, right? There were people out there encouraging others to apply for PPP loans, you know, because you can get X amount of money. All you're being charged is 1% interest rate, and if you do it right, then you can get forgiven, and you won't even have to pay that money back. And there were people out there taking these opportunities, right? And now they find themselves in a hole. Now they find themselves in a dark place. Now they are in debt. Now they are going through so much. And I'm just trying to tackle it from different angles, right? I'm bringing, remember, I said divorce. I'm talking about the financials now. There's a lot of things that you've decided to do in the past that you're paying for now, right? And it doesn't stop there. No matter what side of the table, no matter what decision you made in the past, it doesn't stop there. Don't get discouraged. You know, we all make mistakes. We all make mistakes. For us, it's different mistakes. And you will get through. You will get through. You will push through. Some of us are choosing to change our profession. We're choosing a different path to stay afloat, to have more opportunities for ourselves, for our family, so we can have work-life balance. There's different reasons why we want to do different things, why we want to change and do things different moving forward, because we want to have more time with family, we want to make more money, we want to open up new doors. We already see how employers are treating employees in the past. We've seen how they treated employees pre and post-pandemic, right? Even during the pandemic. You might have lost your job during the pandemic, and you've had like maybe 3 jobs since the pandemic because they've all been dead-end jobs or jobs in the moment that were good in the moment, you know, based on your schedule, the time that you have to drop off your kids at school, the time that you have to pick them up. You know, there's multiple reasons why you're choosing the path that you're in now, right? There's There's different reasons why. And believe it or not, when you make these changes, it's not always going to be easy. You're going to go through major obstacles, right? To the point where you may get discouraged and be like, you know what, maybe you might even think to yourself, maybe it was a huge mistake me leaving the job that I had. Maybe it was a huge mistake deciding to take this path. Do I really love this? Do I really want to do this? Why am I paying for this? Why am I going through this? Why is this so hard? Everything great in life is hard. When you're heading towards working towards stability, working towards that life that you want to live, working towards that schedule that you want to have, you're gonna go through hardship because if it was easy, everyone would be doing it right now. If it was easy to start up a business, everyone would be doing it right now. Everyone would be doing it. You hear about these stories. You hear about it on Instagram. Successful entrepreneurship. You hear about successful startups, right? But sometimes you can't tell the difference between someone who's trying to sell a dream or a course and someone who's really successful, right? It's hard to tell the difference. The same way when you're looking at relationships, it's hard to tell the difference between happiness and someone who's just putting up an image because they want to go ahead and sell the image. We've been happy. We're happy. We feel good. Taking vacations when really they might be swiping those cards to take those vacations, right? We're not over here trying to spot who's who. You just have to be careful with your mental state, with your emotions. Don't compare your life to someone else's life, is what I'm trying to say. So whatever path you're in right now, whatever you decide to do, make sure you do it. Make sure you just do it, despite of whatever you come across on social media, despite of whatever conversation you come across on that, during family dinner, family gatherings. Because, you always get those questions, hey, so what are you doing nowadays? And your response should be very simple. Going for it, trying to make it happen out here. Yeah, but what you doing? Like, what you doing for work nowadays? Trying to make it happen. It don't even matter what my title is. It don't even matter what my position is. It don't even matter what my salary is. I'm just trying to make it happen out here. Because by me telling you the amount that I make a year, it's not going to fix the hardship, the struggle. By me telling you the amount that I make a year, it's not going to make you add on to that salary. So why are you asking? You just want to know, or you want to help? But we don't know that in the moment. A lot of people aren't ready for that conversation. Because then that'll be like confrontation. That'll be confrontational. Oh, well, why do you have to respond this way? Why are you asking me these questions? You want to help? Because I'll be more than happy to give you the answers. But are you willing to help? Are you willing to make these changes? Are you going to make my process easy?
Are disguised. A lot of people who want to sell I just want to know how you're doing because you're my friend, or I want to know how you're doing because you're my family. I want to know how you're doing because whatever reason they have, they want to ask you these questions, but really what they want to do is they just want to know. They want to know if you're suffering or not. They want to know if you have that easy life. They want to know. They want to compare their life to their life to yours. Is he miserable? Is he paying back for what he made me feel? He or she made me feel back then. Because some of us, we don't put our life on social media. So notice when you don't put your life on social media, people's going to start contacting you like, hey, what's up, man? What you doing nowadays? You got people who really care, but you got other people who are ready to celebrate your struggles. Straight up. And let's just say you didn't have any type of connection with them in the past, but you know each other, or you've been around each other a few times. They just want to make sure to see so they can measure their success, to measure how far in life they've come. And these are tough conversations to have. I don't think a lot of people are willing to have these conversations, willing to put these topics out. They're not willing to put these topics out. These are topics that are eye openers, if you really think about it. These are eye openers because we are here for that. We're here to raise awareness. We're here to make sure that you're on track with what you need to do. We're here to make sure that you keep your family life private. Because aside from measuring success and all this other stuff, if we're talking about family life, there's people that want to know how your household is doing. Let's put the money aside now. Because like I said, I want to tackle it different angles. They want to know what's going on in your household. They want to know if you're going through it or not. And if you are going through it, how you do it. How you make it look so easy. How you break through. But if they know that your household is struggling, they find some form of satisfaction like, oh, they deserve it. They deserve it for whatever the reason is. It could be misery. They've had so much that they've gone through that they don't want to see others happy. And you got to be very careful. I'm sure there's been many times in your past where you've been in contact with a friend or a relative that they want to be stuck on the phone all the time, or they want to be present all the time just to figure things out, or because they don't have much going on, or because they don't have what you have, right? Because you may not be rich, you may not be financially stable, but you may have a partner that's super supportive. You may have a household that's not missing food on a table. You have a roof over your head. You have one car, two cars to get you to work and back. You just find yourself in a difficult season, but you have people trying to get what you have. The second they get it, they receive it, you don't hear from them again. The second you are to the point where your household is at risk, or you've been miserable, going through it, you don't hear from them again. Because their mission is accomplished. What's their mission? I just wanted to know what they got going on in the house because I see that they're happy and I'm not. But now that we're on the same boat, I can go my way. For some people, they may just be killing time with you. Killing time, wasting time. They don't have nothing else to do. And they want to be there to know everything about you. But not because they want to know to assist or to help. It's all they have time for right now. I got nothing else better to do. Let me just go ahead and call this person. You have people with good intentions and bad intentions. And then you also have people who are unaware of their actions, to be very honest. You have people who know exactly what they're doing. You have other people who don't know what they're doing. But that doesn't defeat the fact that you got to be extra careful with who you're dealing with. Whether it's your partner, whether it's relatives, whether it's friends, whether it's associates, because you never know who's trying to disrupt your success, who's trying to disrupt your peace, your happiness, your joy, your empire, all that you've been trying to build, brick by brick, day by day, goal by goal. You don't know what exactly is going on. You got to be very careful. You got to move. Man, I mean, nowadays, thank God for technology. Thank God for our platform. Thank God for all the hardship, all the obstacles, because this is how we know. This is how we learn. Whatever I learned from my experiences, I want to put it out. Whatever you learn from your experience, I hope you're willing to put it out. Please drop a heart in the chat. Please drop a hand in the chat. Please drop a request you want to go ahead and join the live to put a testimony out, please do, because it's not only about us, about Pastor Carlos and I. It's not only about Pastor Carlos and I. It's also about you. We want to know what you've been going through. We want to know what you've been challenged with, what you've overcome. You know why? Because you two are a warrior. And I can learn from you the same way you can learn from me. Because we're not gurus. We're just very brave, full of courage. We just decided to set fear aside, 12-12-21, and have these discussions because we have to keep each other afloat. We have to keep each other up, uplift each other, motivate each other, inspire, use our hardship, our obstacles, convert that into opportunity, into energy to keep going, to fix it, to make it better. Be very careful how you treat anyone around you while you go through hardship. Be very careful, no matter what you're feeling inside, what you're going through, how you make the next person feel. And that's tough. Because when you feel something inside, those who know you're going through it. But the fact that you're not creating an uncomfortable environment, a toxic environment, takes a lot of energy. That's another battle within. No matter what you got going on in you, be careful with those around you. Your loved ones. Even your enemies or your frenemies. Be very careful. That doesn't give you the right to go off on someone. Your loved ones, that doesn't give you the right to create an uncomfortable environment in your home. Keep striving, keep fighting. Keep fighting for what's yours. Keep fighting for whatever you have in mind, whatever you have ahead, whatever it is that you want to accomplish. Keep going for it. Don't give up. It takes a lot of pain, a lot of patience, a lot of faith, and all go hand in hand, if you ask me. In my opinion, they all go hand in hand. They're all necessary in order for you to overcome, to get through these obstacles. All necessary. It's very painful. Don't be afraid to shed a tear or tears. Do it. That's how you release the pain that you have in you. Wherever you choose to do it, just don't do it around those who love you, because it's going to hurt them. You know, it's going to raise worry. But if you're that person that wants to hold things in, don't. There's no reason to hold it in. There's no reason to hide your struggle. There's no reason to hide your pain. Because when you let it out, you're teaching that person that you're speaking to a lesson. You're teaching them many lessons, believe it or not. You're teaching them what you're going through. You're teaching them what you're doing to get through it, because you're going to get through it. You're also teaching them where you are mentally and emotionally, because maybe they're afraid to speak. And they can go ahead and say, oh my God, I'm actually going through this, or something similar. But I love how this person is coping and managing their situation. Is the person you least expect going through it right now. There's a lot of people out here BSing. They're bullshitting. They're BSing. They're not telling themselves the truth. They're not telling others the truth. And again, you don't have to spill your story out there. You don't have to tell your story. You don't have to. But don't tell a story if you're not going to tell your story, your actual story. What am I trying to say by this? Don't tell a story. There's a lot of people BSing out there, covering up what they're going through, just so they won't make it obvious, just so they can distract the other person and say, oh no, you know, I have my house and I have my cars or a car and I'm okay. Again, you don't have to put your story out, but if you're going to be lying to yourself and to other people, don't put a story out. But when you're ready to step up, to put your story, do so. Speak on the good and the bad, not just the good. Because then all you're going to be doing is fooling other people. You're going to be leading them down a path where they'll know what the good things are, but not the bad things that they may come across. And if you haven't learned this by now, it's not too late. It's really not too late. Big bro, you know, you and I, we have discussions in and out of this platform. Major. A lot of discussions. And I just want to tell you here publicly that I'm super grateful for you for all the conversations that we're able to have with no worry. And I really wish and pray for others to be able to have that. That connection that you and I have where we are able to talk about any given thing and not worry about it leaking, not worry about it being filtered is the best way to put it. No reason for it to be discussed with anyone who it shouldn't be discussed with, right? Because it's not that we're afraid to put the story out or no one should know our story. Of course not. But there's people out there who you talk to and they put in your story out like, hey, this guy's going through it. It filters like, yeah, he's struggling. But super grateful for you just in general, man. Like I don't even got to get into details. You already know. So why am I bringing this up? Is because I really wish and I really pray on other people's well-being, other people's mental, emotional health, just health in general. Because there's a lot of people out here who haven't been blessed with a partner. And that doesn't always mean intimacy. I'm talking about that person that you can go to, right? How many of us can say that we are a lot of people's go-to, but who are our go-tos? Aside from God, of course. We don't have to mention that. We already know that's a given. Who is our go-to? Who's our go-to? Be very, very careful because we are in very interesting times, the way I've been saying for these past episodes, and we are. I've even found myself in tough situations where mentally drained, completely drained, to the point where the anxiety is starting to come back. And it's all because of the pressure that we may be under. It's all about what's been happening in such a short period of time, one after another, right? And remember what we've mentioned in the past. Everyone's capacity is different. So the number of obstacles that I can come up against may not be the same amount for you, or vice versa. And it's very easy for someone to go crazy, for someone to lose it. And the problem is not being able to come back from it. That's the problem, because I've seen it in a lot of people. Gone because of substances, gone because it was just something neurological that we had no control over, gone because of a prescription that was given to us because of the current season that we were in. It could be a number of things. A lot of people aren't ready for that conversation because they think they're too good to go crazy. They think they're too good to lose it. And when I say lose it, that doesn't always mean mentally and emotionally. That can even be physically. How many people out there lost their home? And when I say home, that I don't only talk about houses. I'm talking about home, whatever your home is. An apartment, a house, condo, whatever that is, a co-op. How many people out there had to downgrade? How many people out there even had to downgrade the vehicle they drive? the car that they drive. How many people out there had it and they're not even able to purchase a vehicle right now because of the season, because they're being careful? Because don't get me wrong, there's people out there who got it, but they're mathematicians and they already know that this ain't the time to do it. So you got to deal with what you got. As long as you're not worried about your image, you're not worried about what other people are going to think, you'll be just fine. Go on with those decisions you're making. Do what's best for you and your family. Do what's best for you and your family. The worst thing you can do is get caught up in a situation, a situation, contract, obstacle that's going to take months or years to overcome. Because that's one thing that people fail to talk about. When they go through situations, the healing, the overcoming, the breakthrough, some of them are short-term, others are long-term. There's going to be obstacles that you're going to come across that you will overcome overnight. You will break through in 3 days. There's going to be others that's going to take a few months. There's going to be others that's going to take a few years. And that's draining for some. Because it all depends on the life that you're living, the decisions that you're making. It all depends on the habits that you have. It all depends on, like I said before, the people that you have around, the support that you have around, the environment that you put yourself in. If you're going through it, what are you doing lounging? If you're going through it, what are you doing clubbing? If you're going through it, what are you doing drinking? If you're going through it, what are you doing smoking? If you're going through it, what are you doing to get yourself out of that situation? Where are you putting yourself in? Are you doing more workshops? Are you joining more lives like this or others that are informational, very informative? What are you doing to change your situation? It's going to be draining regardless, because breaking through is draining. And to get the resources, to search for the resources, and when you have the resources, to use those resources is also draining, because you got to use your time. You got to use your energy. And for those who have families, children, responsibilities, you have to know how to split these responsibilities, how to, give time for yourself, give time to your family, give time to those resources, what's going to move you forward, what's going to get you out of this situation. Everything takes time and everything's going to be draining. I can tell you, because I'm one who is nonstop educating myself, finding a way, seeking new opportunities. I'm not on Netflix watching shit. I can't. And I was one to do that. Even though I want to, and I miss those days. And that's draining too, because you want to take the time to just sit and watch Netflix. I've tried it. I fall asleep because of everything I'm doing throughout the day. It's not the same because of everything I got. So now it sucks because, I wake up from getting that rest, but then I'm beating myself up because, man, my daughter's asking me, why are you falling asleep all the time? My lady's asking me, you always fall asleep, or telling me you always fall asleep. And it's like, haven't you gone through it too? Haven't you been there? There's times that I know most of you, and listen, don't lie to yourself, and don't say no. There's times where you actually think about when you didn't have a family, when it was only you, and how much you would have taken advantage of that moment if you knew what you knew now. But we can't regret. We can't go back. I've had those thoughts, but very quickly, I remind myself how grateful I am for my family, how grateful I am for where I'm at today, mentally and emotionally, the strength that I have today that I did not have in the past. So sometimes we look at our past and we look at what we had before, but we also have to remind ourselves in those seasons, Think about what you didn't have, the experience, the knowledge, the patience, the faith, the strength that you've built based on what you've gone through up until this point. Think about where you're heading, where you're going. What is it going to take for you to get there? Now that I've mentioned everything, and Big Bro, I feel like I've tackled it in different angles. I hope I didn't cause any confusion. I just wanted to make sure that everyone receives this message, because we're all in different situations. Not every situation is the same. And one thing I'm going to say is, don't be afraid to accept where you are today, because it's exactly what you need to get to where you want to be. Believe it or not. Stay on top of your health. Stay on top of whatever you got going on, because the last thing we need is to pile up more obstacles. In your toughest times, because I've been there, and I'm sure there's a lot of people who are probably there, they seem to lose themselves. They seem to not care for themselves as they would if they were to be stable. What am I trying to say by this? Careful with what you consume in these moments. Don't let yourself go. Anxiety hits people different ways, right? Let me go ahead and put my testimony. Sometimes we just want to eat up everything. I've been there in the past. Sometimes we're forced to cut back on expenses, which it leads most of us to change the quality of food that we're putting in our bodies. So even though you got to cut back on expenses, look for ways to keep yourself healthy while you're going through the struggle. It's very easy to choose fast food. It's so easy to choose fast food, but maybe you got to do more shakes. It's going to sound crazy, but maybe you got to do more shakes. You know why? Because if you choose fast food, right? Not saying that, don't go for it, because survival of the fittest. We got to survive out here. So be grateful with what you're receiving, but be very careful with what you're putting in your body, because when we tend to go through these stressful seasons, stressful moments, we don't want to create illnesses, right? What happens in these cases? We choose to cut back on the quality of food that we're consuming or that we're bringing to our homes. But we're creating illnesses. So now we're going through a tough season. So when we finally get out of this tough season, we look at how we're going to be financially, how we're going to be stable, how we're finally going to be good. But I'm getting goosebumps as I'm saying this. You don't want the news of cancer developing, or high blood pressure, or being overweight, or heart failure, or conditions that are going to affect your health and your ability to keep going in life the way you've been going all along. And it's not easy. It's definitely not easy. But we have to be super careful. Look into fasting. There's different methods. Don't starve. I'm not telling you to starve, not at all. But before you put anything poisonous in your body or anything that's going to hurt you in the long run, just be moderate, aware of these things. We have to have these conversations because, again, these are eye openers. This is something that we have to discuss, because a lot of people aren't thinking about it on a daily basis. They're just thinking about the moment. They're just thinking about the moment. This is what I'm going through. This is what I'm able to afford, and this is what I'm going to have. And the reason why I bring this up is because I've had discussions with two or three people in the past, I would say, three now. And they're in situations where they wish they could have done things different. But one thing that I had to remind them, each and every one of them, is that you really don't know where this came from. It could have been the food. It could have been the stress. It could have been a combination of the stress and the food. And then I also reminded them towards the end, we don't even know what we're eating nowadays. You don't even know if it's really organic. You really don't know if it's organic. So just be mindful of everything around you, like I mentioned in the beginning of the episode, and you can have a clear idea of what I mean by everything by now. Because we've hit points today that you wouldn't even think. There's a lot of things in this life and in this world that's not obvious. And again, the more we discuss this, the more we can help one another get through our day-to-day. Big bro, I'm done with my rant. I just hope that I got the point across. No matter where you're at today, just remember that tomorrow could be totally different. So just stay focused, be very, very patient, stay fully equipped with faith at all times. Never lose faith, right? Because it's not, most of the time, it's not your fault. It's not God's fault. It's not that person's fault that you're blaming right now. It's just accepting the process, giving into the current process. Don't fight against the process, because I think that's where the problem is. Most of us, we want to blame everything on everything and everyone, but we tend to forget that we also try to go against the process. If you chose a path, you're going to have to get through it. Get through it. And there's a whole bunch of other paths ahead. That's not the only one. But make sure that you get the result, which is getting through and either succeeding or failing. And both are great answers, because that's what's going to lead you to the next stage of your life, to the next decision that you're going to make. And even while you're succeeding, never get too comfortable. Always keep your mind open. Always continue to educate yourself. Always continue to push forward. Don't give up, because it's very easy to give up on yourself or anything that you're trying to accomplish. And just keep pushing, because one day you'll have, and even today, you have a major story to put out. Maybe you just don't feel comfortable putting it out, but just know that everything you go through in life and everything that you've been failing in and accomplishing, it's a gift for the people moving forward. This is where you find your purpose. During your failure, during your successes, you find your purpose, because you are an open book with endless chapters for people to read on, to know, and to apply in their life, to make, and that's going to help them along the way. So continue writing your chapters, right? Until the end of time. Until the end of time. We have our set date for the time that we're not going to be here. But make sure make every day count before then. And no matter what I go through, it's not going to get me away from this platform, away from you all. It's definitely not. It's going to actually drive me much closer to you because I'm going to have so much more to talk about. So much more to talk about. Transparency all the way, which is what you've been receiving from us all along. We're not selling you a course. We're not selling you a dream. We're being super real with what we got going on. And I know all this is God's plan. I know for a fact. That's what keeps me sane. I just make sure that whatever God is doing on his end, I continue to do whatever I got to do on my end, just so it can align with where we're heading, with what we're doing. And I've noticed and learned so much about myself in the most recent years. I would say the past 4 to 7 years, to be exact. Because I'm a totally different person. My mental and emotional state is, and the strength that I have within is totally different from what it was 3 to 7 years prior. And I've learned to love my life more, to understand each and every process that I go through, to understand the changes that take place, to understand the process in general and accepting it. Because that's, like I mentioned before, that's the problem. We don't want to accept. We want to work against the process because, no, this is going to be too difficult. This is not the process that I wanted. It should be different. And when we seek different, we find different battles. I'll end it with that, bro. Just keep going.
You hit a lot of great points, bro. You know, you hit a lot of great points. If you've been feeling what Jamie has said in the chat, you know, in the live, go ahead and drop a heart in the chat, drop some fire in the chat. Unquestionably, bro, there's a lot of stuff that you said, man, that just took me in a lot of different places. The very first thing is, you know, in terms of the comparison, in terms of the road that you're going down, all the different things that we're going through. One of the things that really stood out to me is, you know, there's a verse in the Bible that talks about how we need to run with endurance the race that is set before us, looking to Jesus, the founder and perfecter of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and seated at the right hand of the throne of God, right? So in other words, he went through what he went through in order to go through this process to ultimately have the greatest glory that he could receive, right? Unquestionably. And the thing is that he's telling all of us, the word is telling all of us, we all have to run this race. We all have the race that's run before us. And I think that that's the greatest thing that you mentioned this entire time, is that your race is different than my race. Your path is different than my path. We're hopefully all getting, you know, the opportunity, if we all do what we're supposed to do, to show everybody the road down the purpose that Christ wants to take them down. But each and every one of us have a completely different path to get from point A to point B. Why? Number one, God designed you a certain way. So that means that the way in which he's designed you, the enemy is going to want to tempt you into sin based on your weakness. That's why if your love is for money, right?
Mm-hmm.
And my weakness is, let's say, you know, it's something different, right? My weakness is in lying, and somebody else's weakness is in sex. Whatever it is, the enemy's not going to attack you with things that are going to cause you to lie, because God has made you to be much more firm about your word. You know what I'm saying? The same way he might not tempt me in terms of what has to do with money, because that's not my area of weakness. So the enemy is not going to try to hit me in an area that's not a weakness for me. That would be a waste of time. So each and every one of us are built in all these different ways in terms of how the Lord designed us, because he has a purpose to use us for a different glory. He doesn't want something that's cookie cutter. He wants something that I'm gonna be glorified with Jay Mejia this way. I'm gonna be glorified with Pastor Carlos this way. I'm gonna be glorified with this person this way, and that person over here that way. There's gonna be different levels of glory, so you can see God's glory is different here, and it's different here, and it's different here, and it's different here, so people can see there is a glory in a million different ways, you know, based on what he wants to accomplish in each in each section, in each different manner, so that that can garner more attention. Why? Because if he glorifies himself in your weakness of a love of money, right, those who probably suffer a similar weakness are going to see the glory that he did with you and be attracted to that, and as a result, like a moth to the flame, they draw to, right? The same way that people who might fall into the sexual sin or the lying and see that God does a work there might be like, oh snap, look at what God did with this person, and they'll be drawn to that light going that way, because that's what causes them to change in their own weakness. You see what I'm saying? So we can't compare the path, because each and every one of us have a different path. We got a different configuration, a different way in which the Lord made us. So we can't expect that we're going to suffer the same, the same attacks, that we're going to have the same path. It would not make sense. That would be silly of us to believe that that would be the case. So with that being understood, we can't focus on those weaknesses. Why? Because we're going to run the race that's set before us. You run yours, I run mine. The enemy is going to try to tempt us along the way, but the Lord is going to allow us to see what's going on, hopefully, maybe not in the moment, but down the road. He'll reveal more and more and more. He'll provide you with the revelation as you continue to endure it, like he says, and he's going to be glorified in that, right? But check this out. At the same time, while we're talking about that, we're going to suffer the different afflictions. Those afflictions are what the enemy hopes brings us to a level of desperation, that in our desperation we'll be like, yeah, I'm gonna just stop what I'm doing, because for what? Because he wants us to give up. And in that, tonight, I think in a lot of what you said tonight, bro, you're absolutely right about these different circles. You're absolutely right about the different people. Tonight, I think the Lord wants to give us a revelation, and he who has ears to hear it can receive this revelation right now, because it's probably one of the realest revelations that you're going to get ever. And here's that revelation. I hope that y'all are ready for it. That revelation is, watch those who are around you. Watch those that you're giving access to. Watch those that are surrounding that maybe you haven't given access to. Because there are a whole lot more people out there in the world right now with an antichrist spirit trying to come at you to hopefully drag you down. What do I mean by that? You can be like, so we're surrounded by demons and devils in terms of like, the physical people? No, you're not. I'm not saying that. Jamin, he is not a demon or a devil. I'm not a demon or a devil. All these different people are not demons and devils. The word itself says we don't battle against flesh and blood. We battle against demons and principalities. That's a different thing. You see what I'm saying? But what we are seeing with an antichrist spirit, what is antichrist? Anything that goes against Christ. What does Christ want for us? He wants us to have hope in the future. There's a lot of haters out there that don't want us to have a hope in the future. If they don't want a hope in the future for you, that's antichrist. Okay? You'll have people that you mentioned a very key word, right? You will have people that want this access to you. They want to hear about, yo, I haven't heard from you for a while. What's going on, right? Not to build you up and edify you, but in hopes that they can take that and tear you down. Christ is not about tearing you down. Christ is about edifying. Those people who want to grab that information and tear you down, guess what they got going on? An antichrist spirit. You got people that will not forgive. That's an antichrist spirit. We're supposed to forgive. You've got people that do not love their brother. They don't love their sister. And I'm not just talking about physical flesh and blood. I'm talking about we are all supposed to be brothers and sisters, but they do not love you. They plot against you. That is an antichrist spirit. Why? Christ himself said, how can you claim that you love God when you don't love your brother or sister? Any man who claims that they love God but does not love their brother and sister is a liar. Because how can they love their brother and sister who they see and love me who they don't see? That's a harsh word. But there's plenty of people out there. Many call themselves Christians. Many are in Christian leadership. Many are influencers. Many might not even have a walk with Christ, but they're just quote unquote good people. Right? But if they don't love you, you got to think about what love is. How can they love God? How can they claim that their spirit is not an antichrist spirit? You want to know what love is? Jamie, I hit a nail right on the head, and I'm not saying that we're perfect, little bro. I really appreciate you. I just told somebody earlier today, somebody else that I know is real. You don't find many people that you can come to with transparency, laying it all out in secret, to be like, yo, I don't know, man. Like, I just can't no more. You know what I'm saying? I'm going through this, I'm going through that, whatever. Knowing that you can be 100% transparent and that person wants everything that they can to be good for you. With no judgment. No judgment. It doesn't matter. And this is where we need to understand the Christ-like spirit compared to the Antichrist spirit. They're not looking on, did you do something to deserve it? Are you reaping what you sowed? Do you deserve the misery that you're in? They're not looking at all this stuff. They're looking at somebody that I care about, somebody that I love is going through it. I don't want to see them going through it. How can I help? Right? What can I do? Even if all I can do is just listen, and that's it, with no judgment. What can I do to edify them? What can I do to build them up? That is a Christ-like spirit. You have a lot of people out there that will listen to your problem, but they are judging you as they are listening to all your issues. That is anti-Christ-like. So we got a lot of people that sit around in these circles that want access to you, that want you to tell them your problems, that want to supposedly see how they can help you. But there are agendas behind it, and those agendas are not to edify yourself. In most cases, these agendas are being used to lift themselves up. And the moment that anybody wants to lift themselves up, that means that you're not trying to lift up God, you're trying to lift up yourself. That in and of itself is antichrist. Because you don't want God to get the glory. You want the glory for yourself by any means necessary. And that's the issue that we're dealing with right now, bro. We have a lot of people that claim to have this love for others. They claim to love you. They claim to want to be there for you.
Their actions don't.
But when their actions don't line up, and instead what they do is they go ghost. Instead what they do is talk behind your back. Instead what they do is try to tear you down to others. But none of this is a surprise. You know why? Christ himself said, if the world hates you, know that it hated me before it hated you. So in other words, he said it. He said it. If you need it, John 15:18. If the world hates you, know that it has hated me before it hated you. If you were of the world would love you as its own. But because you are not of the world, I chose you out of the world. Therefore, the world hates you. Some of y'all are trying to have your walk, man. Some of y'all are really trying to make this change. Some of y'all are like, man, you know what? I don't know what it is, but I'm tired of like doing what I was doing before, and I need this change, and I don't want to be living the same lifestyle. I know there's a lot of y'all that right now are like, I don't want to be living the same life I was living before. I'm tired of this. But you start feeling the hatred, the vitriol from these different areas, and you're like, man, what the heck is going on? You're meant to have haters there. And that the moment that you realize that there's a world full of antichrist haters around you, and many of them don't even realize that they're being used by the enemy to be antichrist, trust me, you'll start to ask for the key word here, and the number one key word is discernment. Lord, who do I need to have around me? Lord, what do you want me to do? Where do you want me to go? What path do you want me on? What job do you want me to take? What clothes do you want me to put on? What time do you want me to go to the gym? Start asking God for discernment on everything. Because there's a world right now around you, an antichrist-based world of people that look like they're good, that say the right thing. But what you don't know is in the shadows or behind the scenes, they're a hot mess. And they're being used to plot, to take you down. And guess what? Many of them, a key way in which you'll be able to tell, is not the only way, but it's a key way in which you'll be able to tell what kind of spirit is behind them. What's their testimony? Do they share testimony? Because you know what? There are those that share supposed testimony. But the word talks about the wise man letting people speak. Why? Because if God gives you the wisdom, right? If you stay shut, God will give you the wisdom. He'll give you the discernment to allow when somebody is speaking, when they're giving a testimony, whatever it is that they're saying, you're going to be able to see with the discernment if what they're saying and their actions add up. He'll give you the discernment of what's real. And I can tell you that because I've seen it. Jay Mejia has seen it. Plenty of people who give you certain testimonies, and then you really pay attention, the fool will always trip themselves up. The fool will always drown themselves. And you'll never see that it'll be like that they unravel themselves with like major things. You'll just start to notice that what they say and their actions don't line up. That what they say, there's something that doesn't match up with something else that they said. They'll drown themselves in it. They'll reveal themselves. It'll be subtle, but there will be revelation there. Or sometimes the Lord will just be like, pay attention to this key word that they said, and just keep watch. And things will unravel over time. Or, and I know you've seen this one, little bro, plenty of people that want to hear everything you have to say. They want to hear you talk. They want to hear you talk, the person next to you talk, your neighbor talk, your nephew talk, the person across the hall talk, the neighbor across the street talk. They want to hear everybody talk. But they rarely say anything about themselves.
Mm-hmm.
They never share about themselves. There's never a testimony there. And guess what? The word says, when the helper comes, whom I will send from the Father, the Spirit of truth, who proceeds from the Father, he will bear witness about me. In other words, he will give testimony about me. And you will also bear witness. You will also give testimony because you have been with me from the beginning. And there's a lot of y'all that are bearing everything about you because you're giving testimony to others about, yo, I'm going through it. Like little bro said, me and him are very transparent. You know why? Because I know that through the things that go on, God will be glorified. He might not be glorified in this moment right now to you, but I know that for me, the glory is that I'm still here. Little bro knows the issues. Little bro knows the struggles. Little bros, and a lot of people wouldn't handle that, and they be out running. They give up ministries. They'd give up households. They'd give up a lot of stuff. They'd maybe even give up their own life because they wouldn't be able to handle it. And a lot of y'all feel like y'all are at that breaking point. But in the testimony that you give, the testimony that's given is that, yo, I'm at a breaking point, but somehow the Lord got me. I'm still here. I'm still standing. I'm still sane. I'm still talking about his greatness. I still believe that there's a greater day tomorrow. I still believe that the best has yet to be seen. I still believe. But there are also others who never share anything. They just want to hear your testimony so they can see in that Antichrist spirit how they can use it against you and tear you down. But they never testify anything. They never testify anything that would show God's goodness, that would show God's glory. And if you're not talking about his goodness and his glory, if there's no testimony there about his goodness and his glory and what he's done, anything that exalts him, then why are you not giving testimony? That right there should be a red flag. Or if you are giving testimony, does your testimony talk about God, or does it talk about yourself? Because if it talks about yourself, you know who else wants to talk about themselves? You know who else wants attention? The enemy wants attention. The enemy wants to exalt himself. These demons, they stay out there because they're all about themselves. Y'all need to watch out. The Lord's trying to give a lot of y'all discernment. A lot of y'all discernment right now in this moment. Because I don't know about you, bro, but times are getting darker.
Mm-hmm.
Times are getting much darker. And if you pay attention, the darker the times get, the more the enemy is going to be plotting about, against the plan of the Lord.
Yeah. He's
going to be plotting against your blessing. He's going to be plotting against things that will exalt him and show his greatness. He's going to be plotting 24/7. And if you don't believe that he's plotting 24/7, little bro can tell you, bro, how many, when God, as God has been doing what he's been doing here with Refiners Church and the launch of Refiners Church and everything, has the enemy not obviously been at work pretty much 24/7? Overtime that you're just like, yo, what is happening? Why is this nonstop? Why is this going on? And some of y'all are feeling like that right now, where you might be like, it might not be that things are falling apart around you 24/7, but you'll feel like, yo, things are falling apart multiple times throughout the day. Things appear to be on fire, but you know that he's working 24/7 because I can't relax and I can't sleep. Because something's always coming to mind. I'm not even thinking about something, and something else is creeping into my thoughts. There's a reason. The enemy's working hard. And a lot of times what we're giving access to is people with the Antichrist spirit around us, that many of them don't even know that they got the Antichrist spirit. And don't disqualify them because they're a good person. Don't disqualify them because they're Christian. Don't disqualify them for any reason. Instead, ask God for discernment to be like, yo, can you show me who? Trust me, he'll reveal it. He will reveal it. He will not leave you there hanging, because that's not what he does. He'll give the revelation in his perfect timing. Just run the race that he has before you. Like little bro said, we all got our own path. Don't let people that are trying to get you to look at a different path try to get you to run their race or their style of race. That right there is Antichrist. He has your own race, so he can be glorified in his own way in that race that you're running. I hope tonight has spoken to somebody, because little bro went off on a lot of stuff, and I know God is trying to give revelation to his people. I hope he's doing it for you tonight. And if you have, like little bro said, if you have testimony, please feel free to share it. If you got something to say, please feel free to hop on. If you feel that the Lord is talking to you and you're like, yo, I just want to share about how the Lord is talking to me. If you feel like, yo, I just want to share about something that the Lord enlightened me to right now, that he's opened my eyes to, or this is confirmation of something that I've been going, whatever it is that you feel that the Lord might be putting in your heart. If you got something to say, go ahead. If you're on Instagram, hit request to join. If you're not on Instagram, if you're on Facebook, you can get on Instagram with your Facebook. That's the beautiful thing about Meta, I guess. You got to look at the positives, the bright sides. You're welcome to go ahead and do that and hop on. Unfortunately, if you're on YouTube, we don't have a way to get you on that way. We'll have something like that soon. But if you're on Facebook, if you're on Instagram and you want to request to join, hop on Instagram, request to join, share testimony, share what God is speaking to you right now, share something that's going to uplift and edify the body of Christ, the people that are around you right now, that the people that are connected right now, that are like, you're connected for a reason. You've been feeling this. You've been stuck in that area. And you're like, yo, I feel the Lord is talking to me right now. And I think he's giving me this because we're getting near to an area of breakthrough, an area where bondage is going to be broken, an area in which I'm not going to have, all these things trying to hold me back, where the enemy has a stronghold on me. I think we're getting out of that season. And what you have that the Lord might be putting in your heart right now can be what's going to be that light to somebody else that's going to glorify him. So if you've got something, don't hesitate, drop a comment. If you want to keep it anonymous, hit the little speech bubble with the question mark there. That will keep it anonymous. Jay Mejia will read it. And if you want to hop on, get on Instagram, hit request to join. Jay Mejia will be on the lookout. And let's go ahead and let's build up bodies of Christ. Let's build up maybe even people that don't believe that they're part of the body of Christ because they feel like I'm not enough. Maybe this is not for me. Yo, this message is for you. It absolutely is for you. God wants to redeem. God wants to take everybody out of that. Do not disqualify yourself because God wants you. He loves you. He wants more for you. He wants to be glorified through you. In fact, the fact that you might be checking off all these boxes to disqualify you means that he wants to use you even more. So if you got something to share, you got something to say, go ahead, hit request to join, put a message in, whatever you got to do, and we'll be on the lookout for your message or whatever you want to share. And with that, I'll leave it to you, little bro.
Sounds good. Yeah, we went off, like you said, man. We went off right from the start. So once again, really appreciate everyone who's watching us. Episode 74 on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Appreciate the time that you take to watch. You can be doing other things, but you decided to listen. I really encourage everyone to share the live, like we mentioned, with a relative, just with others. Send it out. You have the option on the bottom right corner, the paper plane. You can send it out DM. You can send it out through text, email. For those who are watching on YouTube, you can send the link out. And like you said, the beauty of YouTube is everyone has access to YouTube. So go ahead and send it out. We really appreciate if you can share our content, share the live. But it's been major what's been happening, big bro. It's episode 74. We are on every Thursday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern time, 7:30 p.m. Central, and 5:30 p.m. Pacific time, West Coast. What's been happening is major. We're not planning on stopping because we need more of these conversations to make sure that we keep each other, uplift each other, keep each other healthy, make sure that we find solutions and not more problems, right? There's already enough problems in this world. And this is what this platform is all about. Transparency, experiences, everything we got going on, we put it out. For those who feel comfortable with giving a testimony, feel free to join in. Put your story out. Your story can save someone else's life. It's the more testimonies, the more people realize that they're not alone in this mission, in this life, and everything that they're trying to get done. Just remember, it's not going to be easy. For as long as we're alive, it's not going to be easy. All the accomplishments, all the goals, just keep going. Stay strong, stay focused. No matter what you got going on, just don't give up on you. Don't give up on you. Whatever you decide to do, it's easier said than done. But this is the reason why we have these discussions, is to make sure that we keep each other up, uplift each other, continue to motivate each other, which is what we need more of, because we already know we come across a lot of content on social media, but it's very few that you can actually receive the positive energy, the messages that you need to keep going on a daily basis, to keep going on a weekly, to keep healing, to keep, working towards growth, breakthrough. You have a little bit of everything, but you have to be very, very grateful when you come across our platform, come across anybody else's content that has to do with mental health, because there's not a lot of people discussing this. And, it's making its way in the industry, like I mentioned before, big bro, like little by little, but it hasn't been so popular, right? And usually whenever we come across these conversations is usually when something tragic happens. When something tragic happens, you tend to hear more of the mental health, and then it starts to fade away. And then when something else happens, it's like not really ongoing, but we're working towards that. We are just doing it different. Like I said, social media has a little bit of everything, but we got exactly what you need on a daily basis. And for those who haven't been able to join the live on a weekly, don't forget that on YouTube we have the pre-recorded lives. As soon as we end the lives, they're uploaded to YouTube, so you have access there. You'll have access to all the episodes, so make sure you check that out. Check out Big Bro's Refiners Church. He does have, you said, on a weekly now, right, Big Bro? Did you mention that?
Yeah, so we are open weekly now. We're doing services every Sunday. So if you're in the Houston area and you want to be part of Refiners Church, maybe you just want to visit, feel free. Hit me up, DM me. I'll get you the information. We're going to have our Refiners Church Instagram soon, the Facebook page soon. We're going to get everything moving here. We got a few, little moving pieces that got to be knocked out in order to go ahead and proceed with all of that. So that's coming soon. For the members of our church, we have started to stream the YouTube feeds. It is primarily on YouTube. Later, it'll be YouTube and Facebook, but we have started to stream those feeds just internally for members that can't make it. We actually did some upgrades in terms of our equipment to have it even better this past weekend. It turned out really, really great. So pretty soon we are going to be sharing. I probably maybe even as early as the first day that we have the Instagram for Refiners up, we'll have information most likely on how you can connect every Sunday. So if you can make it in person, we'd love to have you visit. If you want to be part of the family, we just want you as part of the family. We're not looking for anything other than, you wanting to actually grow. That's what it's all about. We want you to be able to grow. Like a little bro said, we're not selling you a course. We're not doing anything. It's just God has put this ministry so that we can be a support system for you, so you can grow, so you can be activated. That's what the Lord wants for his people. That's what we want to make sure that you're able to do in our house. So if you want to be part of the family, we'd love to have you as part of the family. And we know for some of you guys want to be part of the family, but you may be further away. Pretty soon, you'll be able to be part of our extended family, our eFam online, so we'll go ahead and we'll share that information once we have it. But if you don't follow me already, go ahead and follow me. As soon as Refiners Church launches, I will have an Instagram post. I will have a story. You'll see me starting to go ahead and blast that stuff so that Refiners Church starts getting out there, and then you can follow Refiners Church and go from there. So definitely don't hesitate to do that. We want to make sure that you're growing, that we can be a blessing to you, that we can be a support system to you, that you can start being activated, because God's called us to do a lot of things. I believe we're going to see deliverance. I believe we're going to see healing. I believe you're going to be given prophetic word. I believe we're going to see that for anybody that wants to do that as a child of God. So we want you to be included in that. Reach out and we will make sure to have you as part of the family. So big things happening, little bro. We see God moving. There's a reason why the enemy is attacking so hard, and we know that we're not stopping. Just like we do with this platform, we're not stopping.
That's right. I think we're good here, big bro. I think we're good. Really want to thank everyone who joined us for episode 74. We will be back on next Thursday, for episode 75 at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 7:30 p.m. Central, and 5:30 p.m. Pacific Time, West Coast. Please make sure not to miss out. I do have the live video, by the way. Just want to put that out there before we disconnect. You can go ahead and click to get notified. There's a notification under my profile. The live is always scheduled the week before, the week prior. You click, you will get notified 2 days before, 1 day before, and the day of. So make sure to check that out. All right. Make sure to check all the links in my bio. Make sure to check out those links. We do have an emailing list. We have a text messaging list. Go ahead and drop your information. No spam. It's just updates, notifications. That's all it is. That's all you'll receive from there. Anything we got going on in the near future, you can go ahead and stay updated. So once again, thank you for joining us. We will see you all next week. Don't miss out. 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time next Thursday. 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 7:30 Central, and 5:30 p.m. Pacific Time, West Coast. And don't forget, patience is a virtue, and faith is the substance. Have a good night. Get that rest, recharge, and make it happen tomorrow. See you all next week.
God bless y'all.